You think you know about relationships, but you're wrong. Listen, there's no magic bullet. I'm teaching life skills. When you're sick, you need medicine. It don't always taste good, but it'll get you better. You need this medicine. It ain't gonna always taste good, but this is what you need. Men and women, bottom line, we need to have the conversation. Your partner wants to give up control, but only if you know how to drive. This is about being the best you could ever be, whoever you are. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, LGBTQ, space aliens. I'll save anybody. I don't care. I'll teach a hedgehog how to have a threesome.
What do you mean by that?
Look, you don't have to listen to me, but you're wrong. Listen, I know I'm great. And I know you're thinking, Dante, there's no way I could be like you. But you could be me, you know why? Because you know who I was? Before I was me, I was you.
Manschool 202. Better hear what I've got to say because you won't get it again.
I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man. Well, put your happiness first, because if you don't, they won't. What's going on? 2 days in a row. We streaming 2 days in a row. It's getting crazy out here. It's getting crazy. Let me see what I can do here. I got to put the number up. Of course I do. Let's put the Cash App up. You know what it is, my peoples. Get it. Let's get it. Phone lines are open. Somebody call me. Just make me. Anybody in the thing. It's anybody in the call me. Put something in the chat. If you're hearing me, let me hear that. First thumbs up. Turn it up. Okay, we can turn it up a little bit. How's that? Can I get a thumbs up in the chat if I'm sounding good? Please. The music's not on no more. Y'all, I think there's a little delay, so I cut the music off, so it's not a problem. What's up, my people? Let me get a thumbs up if y'all hear me clear before we get into it. Thumbs up if y'all in the chat room. Give me a thumbs up if you hear me clear. God damn, the numbers are coming in already. What's up? Here we go. First call of the day. Live consultations on air. Bang. Hold on.
Hey, what's up, Grant?
What's up, Grant? How are you, brother?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
First, Grant, what's popping? Where you calling from, Grant?
Hey, what's up? I'm just outside of D.C., man. What's going on?
Dope. Thanks for calling in. How can I help you, man? I'm fine. Let me just say, I've been trying to get this thing correct for weeks now.
Right, man.
So,
it looks like you started like 4 times and then took the stream down.
Yeah. I appreciate you sticking with me, man. That's how I know I got real love. Because y'all motherfuckers don't go nowhere. Y'all wait for me to get it together.
Hey, I got a question. I don't really have like a dating.
Yeah, fine. It's all the same shit, dog. Talk to me.
I noticed. I know you kind of evolved at the early point, because there's like this Black Phillip and there's,
Sure.
The other stuff.
Sure.
I know it's the last 3 or 4 years. I know you've also had Sneeko on and all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
There's a lot of why is there a lot of far right politics?
That's a great question. That's a great question.
I mean, Fresh and Fit is platforming Nick Fuentes like 3 or 4 times.
So let me say something to you. I mean, you familiar with the Manschool? You've been listening to Manschool, right?
Yeah, I've been listening.
Okay, and you do know that the principles of Manschool is authenticity, credibility, empathy. It's ACE, right?
Yeah.
What I would say about all those guys, they don't practice that. I mean, clearly, they don't practice that. We were just in a situation where, Fresh just got one of the sugar babies. Got one. Hold on, I'm gonna see if I can put somebody on hold. Got the sugar babies on. Got one of his sugar babies pregnant, right?
Yeah.
And can you still hear me, Grant? Grant, can you hear me? Grant, can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. So we got the sugar babies. He got one of the sugar babies pregnant. And so this is all nonsense. What happens is these young dudes, when they get online, and it's you see, you gotta understand that I started out doing this celestial radio, and I never went live, and this just wasn't stuff that I did. And what you realize is the clicks that they're chasing after, you got to constantly go bigger. And I find this about all these guys who blow up really quick, but there's no real substance to what they're doing. Okay? So what happens is you cultivate a fan base. So for instance, I'll give you an example. I've been trying to figure out the technical aspect of this stuff and for quite some time. And I'm gonna Grant, I've been trying to put people on hold, but can you hear me, Grant?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hold on one second. This is crazy. Hold on.
At any time, you may press star to join the call.
Okay, Grant, can you hear me?
What's up?
Oh shit. What up? Scorp? Yo, Grant, call me back, please. Call me back. I don't know how I lost you. What up, Scorp? What's going on, baby? Grant.
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay. All right. Here's the thing. When these guys get online and they start doing this thing online, and then they start making money off of going online. What they have to do is they constantly cultivate a crowd that wants fireworks, if that makes sense. It's always got to be bigger. It's always got to be better. It's always got to be more exciting. So they bring on these bimbo chicks, and they basically want some of them who can't even articulate their feelings. They're clearly Fit is smarter than them, even though he don't really got no game either. But they bring these girls on and they ask them questions, and these are questions that they never thought about. Most of them are just cute and pretty, and they're kind of dumb, and they're OnlyFans models. And then they go, get the hell off the line, get off. They do that. They kick them off. And guys who don't get laid, it's food for the soul for guys who don't get laid to watch these beautiful girls get put in their place. Because these are the women that act like trash to them all the time. Make sense? But what happens in the scope of that is, people continue to want those fireworks. So the fireworks have to get bigger. So you got to throw people out. Then you got fights. You got to have fights. So you're instigating fights. And so then you have people who are super controversial, and you're having fights. And so you're trying to feed this beast that you've created, and the beast is hungry for what? Fireworks and fallacious kind of arguments and fights and all kinds of stuff. Whereas you see how y'all stuck it out. Like I've been online, offline. I've been it's been weeks. I've been trying to figure this live shit out, and y'all stick with me because I cultivate a fan base that understands that there's sincerity with me. They know, everybody who listens to this know that I care. Anybody who's ever done a consultation with me, they know that I want to succeed. And I think it's just, they don't look to me for this kind of salacious nonsense. And I think what happens is eventually they get to the point where you're fighting, and then you're cursing each other out, and then there's people, then boyfriends are showing up and they're fighting, get the hell out, and this becomes a thing because they know that those things are gonna go for clicks. So what do you ultimately have to do? It ends up being very controversial people, and who's more controversial at this point in time than white supremacists and people like that.
Got it.
Sneeko before was one of my little shorties. You can look back in the archive and see Sneeko was one of my guests years ago.
Yeah, now he's speaking at white nationals.
Yeah, but he, he was confused then and he's confused now. When the reality is that, and this is why these guys got deplatformed, and this is why he got kicked off of YouTube, and it's just because you're going down this road, and you really, and then first you're a Christian, then you're this, and then you're white conservative, then I don't understand how you're a Muslim and a right wing dude at the same time. But maybe he does believe it, but I tend to believe it's just a grift, and I don't grift.
Yeah, that's exactly what I think it is. It's just turn out that you grift and
I don't. Anybody that knows me knows that I don't grift. I don't grift.
Yeah.
So
I saw your video with Harry this morning. I liked it a lot.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
I'll give you the breakdown.
But we were doing those too. We're trying to get it. We're trying to give y'all a little content. If y'all want, don't forget to like and subscribe and all that stuff. Please support us, man, so that we don't have these trashy dudes running around, saying this nonsense and teaching people the wrong thing. And young dudes are coming up learning this crap, and then you're on a sugar baby site, and then you wonder why when this chick gets a baby that all of a sudden you're in a situation where she definitely
they're the ones that are telling you not they're dunking on those type of women.
Yeah.
And then they're the ones buying them off of sugar daddy sites and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And and they're knocking them.
It's crazy. Even if y'all check out that video, the video is with the last video we did on I forget the name of it, but it was like Fresh Has a Baby or something like that, and it literally shows him on Fresh and Fit there's a clip of him on Fresh and Fit. Y'all think I don't have game, but when I first met her on the yacht, we went out 4 times. It's just the absurdness of this, and which means basically, and academics is going, you mean on a yacht? You met her on a yacht, like as if she would have hung out with you if you wasn't on a yacht. So it's just absurd. But Grant, I appreciate you calling, man. Thank you so much. Grant, real quick, how's it sound?
Yeah.
How's it sounding? How's it sound?
Sounds good.
All right.
I stepped out of the room so I wouldn't get that echo.
Okay, I appreciate it.
That guy.
All right, cool. Thanks, Grant. I appreciate it, bro.
Thank you.
Phone lines is open, y'all. Phone lines is open. Call in. My boy Scorp called in. If he calls back, I'm gonna look for you, Scorp. But I was just on a call and I haven't figured out how to put it on hold and switch back and forth. But we getting there. We're up, and we're actually live on Instagram as well today. So I'm excited about this. Things just get better. My technology, my ability for technology gets better. Here we go. Oh wow, this is crazy.
Scorpio. To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
Scorp, what up, baby?
What's going on?
Okay, so let me give a background to the fans and everything. This dude is one of the dudes that was on the stripper scene with me, one of the top guys in the game. Pretty dope motherfucker. Not quite as dope as me, but he would argue that.
All right.
What's going on, Scorp?
Ex-martial artist, gymnast.
Yeah, all that. All right, this is not a commercial for you, Scorp. What's going on?
Oh, man, just calling to check in with you, man, and congratulate you on your platform.
Man, appreciate it.
Definitely supporting you. Definitely rocking with you all the way.
Yeah, and then Scorp, I've known Scorp, what is it now, Scorp? Like 30 years now, 35?
30 years, that's
maybe
right.
35, maybe 35, right? Wait,
That's right.
90, 91, 92. So that's what? 92 to 2000 is 10. That's 32 years, man. Good friend of mine.
OGs in the game.
Yeah, for real. And the thing is that, what's interesting about having him on is just, to let you know the authenticity and the amount of women and the things that was going on in that time was really like we all learned from those mistakes. Like we didn't all have it just figured out. I mean, we were in a business that gave us access to women, but you still had to get it figured out. And we know guys right now that had that, that was getting it in and then ended up in a marriage, of sexless marriages where they couldn't do nothing and they would be in control because their whole confidence came from the fact that they had options, the fact that they were still stripping. And the minute they stopped stripping, they started being cornballs. Am I lying, Scott?
Exactly.
So this.
I went from dancing myself to basically hiring girls to dance, and using the business that way.
You could say pimping. You could say pimping. So it's fine.
But I don't like to use those terminologies.
Well, let's call it a personal manager. Let's call it that. How about that?
Yeah, that sounds good.
That works. All right, Scorp, man. Thanks for calling in, dog. I appreciate you.
Hey, love you, bro. Keep up the good work.
Love you too, fam. Easy. Yeah, that was my man from back, my man 100 grand from back in the days. Phone lines is open, 929-269-4922. I always like when somebody from that knows me from back in the days, they can vouch for the fact that I'm not lying, man. I mean, I've been in these streets, doing a little bit of personal management myself. Not something that I'm proud of, but it was something that happened. And through time and through experience and stuff, this is why, it's a lot of times people don't think that, they look at me and they'll be like, well, I couldn't do that. That's what you do. But what it is we all learn. We all had a period of time to learn and to figure it out in a real way. And we couldn't figure it out if we didn't make mistakes. And a lot of the mistakes that I've made is why I'm able to kind of, push, to guide y'all out of these mistakes or even fix the mistakes that you made. So, man, I appreciate y'all. The phone lines are open. Y'all see it on the screen, 929-269-4922. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that bell. If y'all want to help me out, keep this shit going, hit me on the Cash App. The Cash App is on the banner scrolling across. If you didn't see it this time, it's coming back. We were talking, we just put that video, the last video out, where we were talking about Fresh and Fit and how Fresh has got a baby on the way and he's trying to cop a plea. And what's really the sad thing about that is, I mean, look, everybody gets got. Me, you, everybody else, Scorp, everybody that I've ever met, we all are in those situations where we get into a bind. The sad thing is when you're lying about it and you're giving information out where you are inequipped to give that information. I just think it's unfair. I'm gonna tell you a quick old school story until the phone call comes in. Years ago, there was a group called Skin Deep. Skin Deep actually did a song with Lil' Kim, and they were friends of mine. They were Brooklyn cats who wanted me to manage them. And they were like, yo, a lot of people, why don't you manage us? And I wouldn't take them. If you want to if y'all want to Google Skin Deep, it's an old R&B group. And those was my dudes, and they wanted me to manage them. Thanks, Anthony. He said that the Fresh and Fit video was dope. But I wouldn't manage them because I didn't know the music business. I mean, I knew people and I knew how to maneuver in life, but I didn't know the music business per se. And I just didn't want to take somebody's career and trash their career because I had no knowledge of it. And I didn't want to learn on the job on somebody when they had a real opportunity. And they ultimately a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, a dude that was a big promoter in Brooklyn named Sugar Bear, actually managed them and got them a deal with Little Kim. They did a thing with Little Kim, and they did something with I think with Latifah. They did a song with Latifah, things, but then, you know, the music career fizzled out for them. But that was kind of what I was worried about most, because I didn't want to put my need to get into something over their ability to achieve their goals. And this is why I have a problem with a lot of these dudes that are in this space, you know, talking about this relationship stuff. I mean, you know, I absolutely, I don't want to badmouth the dead, but I absolutely agree with a lot of the stuff that Kevin Samuels was saying, but there's a lot of stuff that I disagree with. Here was a guy who didn't have the breadth of experience, didn't have the cross section of basically didn't have the cross section of women that I have, and it's neither here nor there based on the fact of the business that I was in. But a lot of the stuff that he says where he holds women accountable and the finances and his statistics are dead on. But we all know that even with this money and this and that and the other, right? Relationships are, it's messy. It's real messy. It's messy in that emotions get involved, insecurities happen, and you have to know how to manage those things. It's a difficult thing to do. And one of the things that I say over and over again is never let emotion have a seat at the table. You cannot make decisions. And I've said this 1,000 times. And the reason is, and this is scientific, and you can even go into, like, if you're into MMA or into boxing or you watch boxing, those guys train every day. But what they're training to increase their skill level. But in a real way, what they're trying to do is they're trying to maintain the you can get Tago, the Fresh and Fit video is on YouTube. Make sure you like and subscribe. It's the Manschool 202 YouTube channel. But these guys are learning to get punched in the face and maintain composure, right? Because if you get punched in the face and you panic, right, or you recoil, right, then you can't win the fight. One of the things that's going to happen in any combat sport is people get hit in the face. You have to be able to stay in the face, get hit in the face, and still maintain your composure to execute your game plan. But the same thing is true in relationships. If you allow emotion to have a seat at the table, and you start all of a sudden, oh, this is the best girl I ever had, and she's so much prettier than me, and she's out of my league, and you start saying these things, what ultimately happens is she believes it. Like, I'm going to get to that in a second. A woman knows who you are and what your value is. How does she know that? You tell her. You literally tell her who you are by the way you walk, by the way you talk, the way you respond, and just how you deal with her. And women are super, super intuitive about that. They have to be. First of all, they've had more practice than anybody else. Second of all, they have to be, because there are dudes out there who will sexually assault them or murder them. So their intuitive ability to understand who's dangerous and who's not dangerous, which also gives them the ability to see who's the real ones and who's not the real ones. They have a super intuitive ability to see guys in that way. So, you have to, you can't fake it. And one of the things about this Fresh and Fit situation with him having his baby, you could see him crumble under the pressure because you really wasn't that dude in the first place. When you see these guys and they're angry and they're giving these emotion, and it's, and the same thing happened with Sneeko, where like he was wilding out, and I really like that kid in a lot of ways, but he just, I just got to the point where his numbers were so big that he didn't think I was worth listening to. But it all, what don't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse. And so now you got some chick who's clearly a bimbo, who was on a sugar daddy site where she's really just effing with you because you got a Lamborghini and you got money. And of course she's not going to get rid of this child. She's never going to get rid of this child. Why would she? Because the bottom line is you're a payday. And the fact that you're a payday, she's winning. She has access to 16%. Okay, thank you for that, Evan. I appreciate that. The fact that this is a payday for her, she's won. She could have his baby. She's access to 16% of his money, and now she can bounce on him, and she doesn't even have to deal with him. She doesn't even have to give him, for the most part, she can make it difficult for him to have access to his child. But you're gonna see a real change in this, man. You have to not let emotions have a seat at the table, because scientifically we understand this. Whenever you have fear or anxiety or any emotion, right, the fight or flight kicks in. We all know what that is. And that reduces your ability to reason by 2/3. So now you're whatever mental capacity or whatever game you think you got, you can pack that in, because you're going to have to cut that down to 1/3. You'll have to cut that down to 1/3 right out the gate, because clearly and overall, you're not going to be able to access those things. When we are calm, when we're in, I guess what we would call is, what you would call is a safe space, is when you can think, when you're around the people that you're most comfortable with, the people that love you, the people that you can make mistakes in front of, then you have this ability to kind of reason better, because there's not a threat to making mistakes. You don't have that anxiety. And it takes a long time to get punched in the face and not flinch. So it's a really difficult thing. And the only way that you get to the point where you have that composure, talking to women, engaging with women, it takes time to be able to do that. And I think a lot of times what you have to do is you have to forgive yourself for not having game. I mean, I think that a lot of times society says that this is something that you're supposed to know what to do, no matter how many times you haven't practiced, or this is your, I had a guy maybe about, I think like 3 or 4 years ago, call me up and he says, "Look, man, I love your content and I really like what you're talking about." But he was he was like, "If I don't get laid by the time I'm 32," I think he was like 29. He was like, "If I don't get laid by the time I'm 32, I'm gonna kill myself." And that's a lot of it was like really touched my heart, because I was like, man, that I could really, that this guy is in such a place where he's ready to off himself because of the fact that he can't find any women, and he can't access just what we would consider is basic fundamental humanity of finding somebody to be with. I mean, he didn't want a whole lot of hoes. He wasn't trying to do threesomes. He just dude was I spoke to the dude on the phone. We did a couple of consultations. Keep in mind too, the consultations is DanteNero.com. Click on consult. You can do a one-on-one with me. And I worked with this guy for a couple of months, and then I think it was about 4 months where he ended up getting laid. But it was weird because he learned the game and he was really good. This is the thing, though. I'm not going to say where he was from, but it was up in the New England area. And he came down to see me, came to one of my shows, took a bus down to see me. And he was a dude, let me just say, and this is not, not like I judge people in that way, but man, he was not attractive. I don't know what that deformity is, where you have the protruding chest and you have that really short torso, and then you got long legs, but you're really short. Like the dude was, he was not. It was not. It was not. When he came down, I was like, wow, I got my work cut out on me, cut out for me. But I'm going to tell you honestly, we stuck with the principles. He stuck with the principles, and you really start to understand that it's less about what your looks are and more about the character of who you are and your confidence, and that the fact that when you tell somebody that you have value, they believe you. I've actually counseled dudes who have actually I've got a couple of guys who were in wheelchairs, and his problem was that he couldn't get laid. The problem is that he was being fetishized. So this also happens in a lot of ways. Ditto, what's up? Ditto asked me for he had a question. He says, and let me put the two. He put two things up. Let me see if I can get that up. Ditto. He says, and to be fair, Fresh, he asked for wanted women to want him for his resources, and the irony, he got what he wanted to get. Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, this is what they talk about, resources. But man, I was in my mom's basement, living in my mom's house, sleeping on a broken down futon with broken slats, and I was getting more ass than an ashtray, more butts than ashtray, I should say. Anthony got a question too. Let me see if I can get this up real here. Anthony Drassas. Dante, why do you think that this generation has so much trouble dating? A lot of young guys are still virgins in their 20s. Man, I'm going to tell you honest, I don't know if there wasn't guys in our 20s who wasn't virgins. I mean, I think you didn't have this facade of the internet and social media where you don't have to engage. I mean, the only way you talk to a girl was if you actually had to really go and talk to her. And I think because of that, women, like there are things that are nuanced that you figure out if you do it enough. The problem is if you're too scared to do that and you stay online. This is something that I think is crazy to me, and I've just come. This is how crazy, how far behind I am, and I'll admit to that 100%. I did not know that guys don't talk to women on the phone. This was a revelation to me that I couldn't even understand. Because I did understand that people use dating apps, and I do know that women text. But at some point in time, and I've said this over and over again, if you get somebody who's talking to you, and or you get the nibble where somebody's interested in you, your job is to get it off the phone, get it off a text message. There's no way that you're going to make an intimate connection with somebody text messaging people. It's just absurd. I don't understand. So let me see the best way I can explain this. There's a technique that I teach. It's called time travel, right? Don't forget the phone lines are open. Let me put the phones up real quick. Let's see. Put both numbers up. Phone number is 929-269-4922. There's something that I talk about all the time, which is it's a technique that I learned. If anybody really wants to learn this technique, you can consult with me at DanteNero.com. Click on consult, and I can teach it to you. But it's called time travel, and what it does is usually there's an apprehension of women, and you go out on a date and a woman doesn't want to have sex with you. Because she doesn't want to seem like she's easy or she's a slut or whatever, or society deems her to be inappropriate. So what you do is you take a girl out. I can't give you the whole details. You'd have to call me because it's a lot more involved. But ultimately, when you take the date out, you go for a drink somewhere first, and then you go do the activity. Say you're gonna go listen to music, and you do music, and then you go to another location to eat, and you go to another location for dessert. And so in one date, there's multiple locations, right? And to make it simple, as you move from location to location, the touch initially is non-sexual, and every every venue you go to, that the touch, your connection with her becomes more sexual. Goes from holding hands to your arm around her, maybe a kiss on the temple, or kissing her hand, to making out, and you transition. I mean, this is not. I mean, it's not that simple, because there's nuance to that. That's why I can't explain it all in a nutshell. But what happens is, from the time you go out on that first date till the time that you get to the door to give the girl a kiss, kissing is a very intimate thing, right? I know prostitutes that'll suck your dick and give you anal if you got the money, but they won't kiss you because kissing is an intimate thing, right? It's a personal, intimate thing. But what you're asking to do, if you've gone through the date, even if you had a good date and the date had chemistry and it got great, and you got great energy and all of that, right? All of that's fine. But the fact is, when you get to the door to go for the good night kiss, you have to have bridged that gap. So you don't want to go from no touch to kissing. That gap of intimacy is too wide. So you want to go from, hey, when you meet her, hey, it's great to see you, I'm excited about our date, a hug. You start with a hug. Then you hold hands. Then you maybe kiss her hand, and you escalate the touch. It starts non-sexual, and it's escalated more and more sexual, because then when you get to the house and it's time to drop her off or whatever, it's not like she's going from no touch to something as intimate as kissing. And each location that you go to almost feels like it's multiple. It makes the date feel like it's multiple dates. So when a girl says, "Oh, I would never sleep with a guy before the third date," right? You do 4 or 5 dates in the context of your date. If y'all want to know this and y'all really want to learn it, hit me on DonTenero.com, and I can talk to you about all the little techniques and things that I've learned. Things that I've learned, and just nuance. But you gotta go through it, and you gotta have the confidence to do that, which is the whole plan that I put guys through in the first place. So there's that. But my point being is, if you're meeting a girl on a dating app, and then all of a sudden you haven't spoke to her, or you're just texting her on the app, or maybe you get from the app to where you exchange numbers and you're texting, and you haven't spoke to her on the phone until you go on the date. It's very unlikely that this date is going to move in the direction that you want it to. And the reason being because you haven't created no intimate connection. I mean, guys, look, you got to understand, guys are like microwaves, women are like crock pots. Guys, you put it in, doot, 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 and we heat up. We ready to go. You show me show me some titties, and I'm ready to go. Women, you have to cultivate this. You got to put the meat in the crock pot. You got to season it. You got to cut the vegetables, and then you let it simmer, and then it bloop, 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 bloop. Then before you know it, it's a dope ass stew. You got to make that stew, and make no bones about it. This idea of women talking about chemistry that's all crap. Chemistry is what we create. Be clear. Chemistry is something that the man creates. If you got a girl and you're asking a girl and you haven't had real conversations, you haven't had a real conversation, and you're not talking to them on the phone, and you're texting them back and forth. They've never heard your voice. They've never heard the tone of your voice. There's been no playful banter. There's been no flirting on the phone. So you're the first time that if she does decide to go out on a date with you, which 9 times out of 10 she'll ghost you anyway, because you haven't created there's no intimate connection. And don't get me wrong, you could do all of that and still screw up. But I guarantee you, if you do all that, right, you have a much better chance. to make this kind of intimate connection with somebody, because that's what you want to do. And the honesty in it is important, because if you don't have the honesty, and here's an interesting thing, and because I remember when we first started doing, even when I was doing the thing with Patrice and I was doing the Page Phillips early on with Harry, there were all these pickup artist guys who were teaching guys tricks and parlor tricks on how to get women and how to, make them feel, there was nagging and all of this stuff. But here's the difference in that. This is a time where if a woman feels as though she has buyer's remorse, where even if you do get the sex or if you do make out, she can afterwards feel like this was awkward and then say that you assaulted her. So what you want to do is make sure you got all the green lights before we're talking about consent, that consent is there and she doesn't have buyer's remorse, that after you've lied to her to get in the drawers and then you're intimate with her and then you like, I got what I want, I'm out. Then she goes, well, I feel like you tricked me and now you got a case because you were dishonest. Not a good thing. You don't want that on somebody who you don't even really have a real connection with. It's ridiculous. But women will tout this idea of chemistry as if it's something esoteric, it's something mystical. It's not. If you're having a conversation, if you say you connect on an app where you connect and then y'all are texting, you have to. And I don't get me wrong, I do understand that young women do not want to talk on the phone, right? But you understand that them talking on the phone or not talking on the phone is a stiff arm. It's a way of not allowing you to get comfortable with them and them to get comfortable with you. Because one thing about women, when they're, I mean, people jump on me a lot when I say this. I say women don't know what they want, their pussy does. What I mean by that is not as nefarious as it sounds. What it means is that attraction and intimacy is something that is felt. It's a visceral feeling. It's not something that just happens by accident. If you're talking to a girl and you're talking to her and you're like, what kind of food do you like? What you're doing is you're communicating with her and you're on the phone with her and you're talking to her. And she's hearing your voice and you're hearing her voice and you're getting to know her, you're understanding the cues, but you're also asking her questions to get intel. If she's allergic to shellfish, you don't want to take her to a restaurant that only serves shellfish. You don't want to take her to a seafood restaurant because, number one, she's not going to be able to eat and it's going to be uncomfortable. If she does try something and gets sick because the date is shot. So it's there's all of these things entailed in it, and understand that, connecting with somebody on an intimate level is a living, breathing thing. There's so many variables. And so when you get guys who are just teaching that you got to this, I mean, to the same token, don't get me wrong, Kevin Samuels is talking that same shit. Don't get me wrong, his statistics are dead on, but your statistics don't mean nothing. I've seen dudes. I mean, Scorpio, call me. We've been with chicks who had rich boyfriends and rich husbands that took the husband's money, right, and bought us stuff. That was the thing. So yeah, I got this guy because he's a payday, but I'm spending this money on the guy who I really want to. Username, this is he says, so is drugs and chicks love drugs? I don't subscribe to that, man. First of all, I don't want to be with the last thing you want to do is end up like Fresh, where you got some chick because you had blow and now you got a baby with a chick who's a cokehead. I would imagine you don't want that. The phone lines are open, 929-269-4922. You can call in, man. Ask me anything you want to ask. Anything I'm talking about that you want me to elaborate on, I can do that. We are on all platforms, LinkedIn, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, X. We're on everything. Check us out, 929-269-4922. 4922. Call in and ask me something. Also, here's a question from Sterling Barg. Let me put this up since we didn't get a call yet. I don't know if y'all scared to call and talk to me, man. I love to hear from y'all. In my experience, what are some misconceptions about masculinity? I think that there's misconceptions about the fact that there's this whole terminology of toxic masculinity. And I don't know if that exists or it doesn't exist, but I've never met a woman who doesn't want a strong man, who doesn't want an overtly masculine man, the problem is the fact that if his masculinity is so that he lacks the empathy to see or to feel when he's overstepped his boundary. I think you have to be cautious. And let's be honest, man. Let's say you ran into somebody's fat aunt, and all of a sudden she start grabbing your dick, and you're not attractive to her at all. You would be offended about that too. Like, we got a call. Let me get this. Hold on. Let me get this.
To accept, press 1.
Hello, who am I speaking with? Where you calling from?
How's it going? My name is Art from Georgia.
What's up, Art? Calling from Georgia. How can I help you, brother?
Hey, man, I was wondering, how can you improve your sense of humor, or how can you, rediscover it in a way?
When you say
Something
rediscover it, did you have a humor? I'm sorry if there's static on the line. Make sure you speak up, Art, please. I hope that's better, fellas. Jesus, is it that bad? Let me see. Art, why don't you hang up? I'm gonna call you back, okay?
Okay.
Let me see. Sorry, man. I'm sorry if that. I hope that's. Let's see. I can call Art. Yeah. Is that ringing? Shit. Hold on. Let me see if I can get this to call back. Let me call him back. Hold on. Let me call Art back. 1 7. Oh, you called me back. Did he call me back? Shit. 7. Is that right? Yeah. Hold on. I don't know. All right, call back, man. I can't seem to make the call. If you can't call back, there's nobody on the line. So as soon as I see your number, I'll put you in. But yeah, I think there's a. Yes, damn, it keeps cutting off. Shit. Try one more time, man. It keeps clicking off. All right, you there? All right. Hold on. Sorry about this, guys. Yeah, Art? Hold on. Hold on. I think I had him. Come on. All right, what's up? I got you. Can you hear me? Yeah, can you hear me? Art, can you hear me? Art, can you hear me? Okay. Yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go. What was your question again?
Trying to.
Oh, you said
Really pretty much like a-
rediscover your. Thank you,
Sense of
man.
humor.
Thanks, Justin. I appreciate it. I was trying to. All right. Do I still have you up? Oh God.
Yes, sir. I can hear you.
Okay. So the thing is, you're saying rediscover your
rediscover your
automatic voice message
Oh
system.
my God.
4709.
Can you hear me, Art? Oh no.
173
I don't know why.
is not available.
All right.
At the tone,
Let me
please
just
record your message.
Yeah, I hear
When
something
you
in
have
the
finished
background. Give me a
recording,
minute.
You may hang up or press 1 for more options.
All right. Anyway, can you hear me? All right.
Yes, sir. Can you
So
hear me?
are you saying that you had a sense of humor and you lost it, or are you just saying you're trying to learn how to be funny?
Kind of both, really. I mean, I've had moments where like I can make
If you
people
are
laugh,
satisfied
but
with your message, press
you
1
know,
to
I
listen
just
to your
want to
message.
naturally,
Press
you
2 to
know,
erase and
be able
re-record.
to
Press 3
understand
to
my own
continue
humor.
recording. Message
So, you know,
review.
when I'm just
Message
communicating,
review.
talking to
All right.
people, you know, I can just have a good time as well.
Anyway, can you
I
hear
don't want
me?
to make it
All
seem
right.
like I'm like super duper
So
serious all the time.
are you saying that you had
Message
If that makes
review.
sense.
All right. Hold on one second. I
Anyway,
got to
can you hear
double
me?
talk. All right. I'm sorry. All right.
To send your message with normal delivery, thank you. Your message has been sent. Goodbye.
Yeah. All right. So what I'm saying is, like, being funny is something that you can develop it. But what I think is interesting is I mean, some people are funnier. Are you like a jovial kind of funny guy in the first place?
Joe Beal. I don't think I've ever heard of him before.
No. Are you funny?
Oh.
Are you funny? Jovial is a term. Are you funny? Are you a funny guy in general?
Nah, not really. I'm mainly like the more serious guy out of the friend group.
So why do you think that this is necessary? That you being funny is necessary for you to be with? I mean, is that something you want to pursue, or is it just you think that this is something that you're lacking that stops you from having access to women in the way that you want?
Definitely having access to women in the way that I want, you know. As far as like, I have times where I'm like really witty, but it's not something that I can really like control or understand.
Well, let me ask you something.
Right?
When you are witty, is I don't even have to ask you this. I already understand. You're going to be witty at the time in a time when you're most comfortable, correct? When you're around people that you're comfortable, when there's nothing at stake, and there's nothing that you know, you being funny or not being funny is something that you don't have to worry about, where you can kind of relax. And the only way, so let me, first of all, you don't have to be funny to get girls. Everybody who gets girls is not funny. You know, they're not witty, they're not funny, they're not the life of the party. Everybody has their own gifts that works for them. So you don't have to be funny. That's just not important. I think to think that that's necessary, I just think is not. I think that's a misnomer in itself. I don't think you have to do that. I think you have to be comfortable with the more comfortable and the more confident you are about yourself is the thing that's what women feel the confidence coming from. And if you're comfortable and confident, the problem is most of the time is, and this is something else that I talk when I talk about laying the 5 bricks, which is going out, giving 5 women a compliment that's honest, give 5 women a compliment every day for 8 weeks. It has to be honest, non-sexual, and it has to be truthful. And I tell guys it's one of the exercises that I put guys through because what it does is it teaches them to be able to talk to women when it's not transactional. What I mean by that is every time you're talking to a girl, usually it's a girl that you find attractive and you have something to lose. And because you have something to lose, you have anxiety. And because you have anxiety, you're not able, that's when you have emotion, have a seat at the table, which is what I was talking about earlier. And so you can't really be your true self. Now, when you can be your true self is if you are funny, that will come out naturally, you know. I just don't think you have to be funny to get women. It's just not necessary. I mean, it's you don't want to. You also don't want to be a clown either. You know what I mean? You don't want to. You know, you want when you're being serious, you want to be serious. And when you're approaching a woman, there's a way to flirt and stuff like that. But I mean, this is all stuff that I teach when I do my consultations. So again, DanteNero.com, click on consult. If you really want to get into the depth of it and learn, I teach this stuff. But I don't think that you need to be funny if you're not a funny person. If you're naturally a funny person and you're silly and stuff, I think you can be comfortable with that. But the real thing is to be comfortable with what you have to offer and confident about that, the fact that what you have to offer is good enough. I talk about this all the time, is that the guy who goes on these dating apps and he's 5'4" and he lies and says that he's 5'6", it's because he doesn't think that 5'4" is good enough. So in the dark recesses of his mind, he thinks that if I was just 2 inches taller, it would all work out. And what's the probability of that? What's the probability that 2 inches would make that much of a difference? It doesn't. I mean, women date you and they like you on a scale. They like your, yes, they do like you if you got money, but they like you because you're attractive. They like you because you're funny. They like you because you're smart. Nobody likes somebody. I mean, you're not going to be a guy who's 6'6", and just because he's 6'6", he's going to get the girl. He could be boring. He could be lazy. He could be unattractive. There's all these. No woman is going with a guy for one thing unless it's money. And if it's money, those are not the women that you really want to. Those are not the women you want anyway. Then you're back on the honey, the sugar daddy sites. You know what I mean? And as soon as your money runs out, trust me, she's not going to be there. So I mean, I think we deal with that in a real way, and so I just don't think that that's important. I think what you have to do is get the confidence that you need to approach people and present yourself in a way that goes, hey, this is who I am. And you should be, you're lucky to have me in your presence. Not in a cocky sense, but just the fact that you present yourself in a real honest way. That makes sense?
Yes, sir.
And if the funny comes out, that's fine. I mean, we all learn. I don't expect anybody, even when I consult with guys and I teach guys, I'm not looking for them to make a bunch of clones of me. There's basic fundamentals that I teach, but those basic fundamentals have to be taught in the context of who you are. I got a guy, one of my all famous. I mean, anybody who listens to the show knows about Cinnabon, and Cinnabon was absolutely he's an asshole. He's absolutely an asshole, so it is what it is. But I hope that answers your question, bro.
I did, sir. I really appreciate it, Mr. Dante.
All right. Have a good one, bro.
You as well, sir. Thank you.
Phone lines is open, baby. Phone lines is open. Let me put that number up again. Man. I wanted to say too, is I'm also going on, I might go on live tomorrow earlier than usual. So keep that in mind. If y'all want to jump on with me, that'd be great. Because I'm going to be in the studio with Godfrey, or I'm going to be in the studio with him, but much later. But Big Mike is not going to be in the building. So I gotta make some adjustments, but I'm going to try and get to see y'all at least for an hour. Tomorrow on live. We'll be streaming on all platforms: YouTube, Real Manschool, Instagram, Facebook, everything. So if y'all need to get me, you can get me there. That would be dope. Phone lines are open, 929-269-4922. Call up, ask me anything. I'd love to get a girl's comment in here, because I think sometimes it seems as if I don't have the knowledge from the other perspective, but I think that I'm as honest with women as somebody like Kevin Samuels, without the harshness and without the idea that, for the most part, it is a game of numbers, because it's not, man. It's not. Clearly, it's not. I guarantee you that chick who fresh is getting ready to have a baby ain't got no money other than the money that other people are giving her. And the minute she starts showing and she can't flaunt it around, trust me, those other guys who are paying her bills ain't gonna be paying her bills, unless they on some freak shit where they because that's possible too, that they could they could actually, be into somebody. I mean, I'm not even gonna get into the freak shit. Dudes are into breast milk and all kinds of shit, whatever. But I'm not judging. I'm just saying. 929-269-4922. Call up, ask me anything. I just think that the confidence is what women find most attractive, and the only way you get the confidence is by practice. You have to have these engagements with women, and you have to fail. There's no one answer kill all, one magic bullet for any of this. It's all something that happens intermittently. It all happens in a situation where it's like, you have to fail. Nobody's good at everything all the time. It just doesn't work that way. And understand that the fact that men are supposed to be good at sex and relationships on a level that when they've never been taught. I mean, most guys don't have, their father didn't teach them. Some of the guys didn't have a father. Some guys grew up in households where their mother was super masculine and super aggressive, and the father didn't have time to teach them nothing because they were so busy hiding behind the couch. Like, get down before your mother come, It's ridiculous how, we call ourselves men and then we emasculate ourselves in these relationships because we're liars. Now, let me explain what I mean by liars. There's 3 types of lies. I've talked about this a couple of times. I'll probably talk about it 100 more times. Every guy that I talk to, every guy that I've counseled to, every guy that's called, they're all liars. Now, when I say liars, I don't want people to get offended by that. But what I want you to understand is that we perceive lying as telling a mistruth so that we can take advantage, so we can gain advantage, make money, so on and so forth, or whatever, or get somebody. Some dudes do shady shit where they'll lie on a guy to get his girl or whatever. But we all, as men, we look down on that, right? But the reality is that there's so much more stuff. There's 2 other lies. One lie is lie where we lie not to be into and not to have a confrontation. We will lie to not have a confrontation, and because we're having the confrontation, because us telling the truth might cause a confrontation, we'll always will avoid that. The problem with that is if you're not telling the truth to avoid a confrontation, if you're in a relationship and you don't want to have the argument, right? What you're doing is you're lying. What you really are is you're in a situation where you're in a relationship where without a doubt you don't feel that you can speak your mind. You can't speak your truth. Secondly, there's the other thing where we lie sometimes because we don't want to hurt somebody's feelings. So the analogy of do I look fat in this? And a guy will go, oh, sure, you look great. That's you hear comics talk about that all the time. It's how. What I'm saying is that if you have to have a level of honesty in everything that you do, and here is why. When you tell your woman, I love you, right? Or if you ever get to that point where you do, how does she know you're telling the truth if you lie? It's what I call the Judge Judy effect. The Judge Judy effect is that you ever watch Judge Judy as the court lady, and if she catches you lying in the first 5 minutes, everything that you say is suspect. Women look at it the same way. Just because they benefit from the lies that you tell them doesn't mean that doesn't not make you a liar. So your credibility and your authenticity has to be unblemished. It has to be so solid that when you speak, people listen because they know you're telling the truth. It's not you just talking shit out the side of your face and really not and not telling the truth. Also, when she's in a bind and she wants to go, well, hey, she's in a bind and you tell her, look, I got your back. I'm here for you. How does she know that she can trust you and she can believe you if you're telling lies? It's just an insane thing to think that you could lie and then still people trust you. I am one that stands 10 toes down on everything that I say all the time. I'm not perfect, but I try my that I don't know that anything I say people take it for truth because I don't say it if it's not true. So there's that. There's that. Let me. I got a couple of questions that came up. One thing I was saying. Black Pearl girl called in and she let put a message in. She said, I don't know any women that don't like funny guys. Yeah, women like funny guys. That don't mean they fuck funny guys. So keep that in mind. You know, women will love a funny guy, and if he goes too far, if he's too goofy, if he's unattractive, if he plays too much, if he doesn't know when to be serious, she will not fuck him. You will laugh your way into the friend zone. And what's interesting about that is I know because I've done that. Crazy that I've actually done that. I've joked too much where somebody was like, oh, he's a great guy. He's such a great friend because he feel if there's no if you're funny, there still has to be a sexual element to the fact that she has to know that when it comes down to it, you're willing to knock them boots. And if she doesn't know that, man, let me there's a sort of a graph to this. The first thing you have to do is make a woman feel safe, because if she doesn't feel safe with you, she's not going to deal with you at all. So there's feeling of safe, then there's attraction, right? And then there's sexuality, some form of intimacy or something that happens, right? If you have trust, right, with no flirting and no attraction, right, then you end up in the friend zone. If you have attraction without trust, then a woman has buyer's remorse, and then if she does do something which she regrets it later because she's going, I gave myself to somebody who wasn't worthy. And if you have sex without trust and without attraction, that's rape. So we don't want to touch that at all. But the other two mindsets, you have to have, those three things need to be, she has to feel safe with you, she has to feel attracted to you, and then you can escalate to sex. It's a question from Ziggy Bronco. What's going on, kid? Let me see what he's saying. See if I can put his thing up. Says, I've been on a weird tear this past year. Maybe I'm weird, but I don't feel any need to make connections with women. I'm not even mad, but disinterested. Do I need to force myself to want it? No, you can do what you want to do. The question is, are you really, is it really that you have no need to it, or you just don't want to put the work in to be that? Are you afraid of the rejection? Are you afraid? I don't know, but I think you got to ask. But I think you can go through a period of time where you don't want to, where you're not just interested in being around anybody. Maybe you're going through something. But the question I think you have to ask is, am I good at this? And because I'm not good at this, it's just like anything else. I have a friend of mine who loves to roller skate, and he's with that crew in Maryland, and they skate all over the place. They go down to Virginia and they meet up. He's great at skating, so he loves doing it because he's good at it, right? Nobody wants to do something that they're not good at. That's why people don't like math. They're not good at math, so they hate math. But you get somebody who's good at math, and they want to do math all the time. They'll tell you they love math. They want to be accountants. There's all kinds of weird shit that's going on with them. My point is, it's just human nature that we want to do things that we're good at, and if we're not good at it, we don't want to do it. What is it? Endowed men aren't looking for love unless they're tired of hooking up with nightmares. I don't know what the fuck that means. That's ridiculous. I don't know how you would know about endowed men and whether they're hooking. I know well-endowed men who want nothing but to hook up. I know if anybody knows porn, Mo the Monster is a good friend of mine, has a huge 16-inch joint, and like 14-inch joint, but can't find a woman because he's too big and nobody will fuck him. Or if they do fuck with him, they don't stay with him. So yeah, absolutely wrong. It's weird that people just yell shit out for no reason, and it's just weird. And to frame it, why do women choose men and will hurt them? And this bullshit. I just can't stand when people start, yelling shit out. We got a super chat from Sterling Borg. Thank you, brother. Let me put this up. Want to read this. This is a $10 super chat, so I really want to read this and answer this correctly. What role do you believe societal expectations play in shaping men's behavior and attitudes, and how can men navigate these pressures? Okay, so I guess what you're talking about, Sterling, is this whole idea of, the Me Too movement and consent. What's weird is I've never had a problem with this. I've never had a problem with this, even when the whole Me Too thing, because I never wanted to. I never wanted to sleep with somebody who didn't want to sleep with me, and I'm always trying to make myself better. Even there's times when I don't feel the best about myself, but I do not want somebody to. I don't want a pity fuck. First of all, a pity fuck is going to be trash. It's not even worth it, because it's if somebody's not into it, sex is going to be trash. Second of all, I don't. My self-esteem just won't allow me to just take sex from somebody simply because they pity me. If you're not into me, I'm not into you. And if you're really working at you being the best version of yourself, and you're working on that every day, just because somebody doesn't recognize that that what your importance is or your value is doesn't diminish your value. Sometimes they're just too dumb to see it. So that's that. Black Pearl girl hit back. She said, when it said that she knows a funny guy, she says, I totally agree. Not fool, but if you're the right kind of funny, this is that you can even be unattractive. Here's the thing that, and this is no offense to you, to Black Pearl girl. Black women always think that they understand the dynamic of how they work because, well, I'm a woman. How would I know? If you want to know how to hunt deer, you ask the hunter. You don't ask the deer. Women feel what they feel, and they have the adjudication to do whatever they want to do. There's this whole thing now that women are talking about is the ick. I don't like this. I don't like if a guy eats soft serve ice cream. I don't like if a guy eats soup in the summertime. All of that shit don't matter. It all matters on the guy. It depends on the guy. So this is all arbitrary. Like I said it before, women don't know what they want. Their pussy does. And now all that means is that attraction is a visceral thing that women feel. It's not something that they can describe, and it changes from guy to guy, from moment to moment. And so if you think you got it, whenever you hear women in there giving advice about it, they have no freaking idea about it because they don't even look at the trends. And even most of the time, women are not even honest with each other when they're talking about men and what they like and what they don't like, because they will, oh, I want a guy with 6 figures. I want a guy, a high-value man who has this and has that. And then they go sleep with and have a baby with the dude, the trash dude who's in and out of jail. Just there's an absurdness of this. It's because he checked all the boxes and he got in the drawers. And then we're regretting this later. And sometimes the perspective of what's important or what's not important changes. It always changes. So no offense to her, but it's just, whenever you're talking to women and I don't know any women that don't like a funny dude. Yes, you do. You know plenty of girls who got a funny dude who's too funny, who doesn't know how to turn it off. What we're talking about is you're talking about just the right amount of funny, or maybe no funny at all. Maybe he has sex appeal beyond funny and you don't care about it. Maybe because he's unattractive, but he's interesting and he's funny. Maybe there's a litany of different variables that come into play that turn you on and don't turn you on. But what women have to understand is it is a visceral feeling. It's a feeling that they feel in their gut about this. It's not something that they can actually articulate or put it in perspective, because it is a feeling. And that feeling in one situation is totally different in another situation. It changes. Phone lines are open, y'all. Let me open those up. So Sterling, yeah, the expectations of shaping men's behaviors, absolutely all these things that are coming into play, and they're saying, because they're saying you can't do this and you can't do this. Here's what I would say. If you ascribe to the podcast, if you ascribe to the principles that I'm talking about, which is ACE, which is authenticity, credibility, and empathy, tell the truth. Always tell the truth. Always keep your word when you say you're going to do something, do it. And then have the empathy to know that the women that you're dealing with are going through things that you may not be aware of, and be open to that. You got to be open to the fact that there may be something that you don't see. You know, I have no idea what it is to have a period. I have no idea what it is to have the debilitating cramps where I don't want to leave the bed. I don't know what that feels like, and there's not a man here who knows what that feels like. And so you got to have empathy, and you got to assume that people are talking to you in good faith. But even when they're talking to you in good faith, if they're lying, you can see that. If you got a woman, she goes, "I'm on my period. I don't feel like going out," and then a certain dude goes out. Another guy who she feels has more value, she's out with him, or she goes out to a party. Then what she was basically saying is, you're not important enough for me to go out. And I think we got to be honest. We got to be authentic and honest with ourselves. Is when we see these things, we understand them. We understand that that's what we're saying. If somebody's cheating on you, or your woman is not interested in you, or you're talking to some girl and she's not returning your calls, it's because she's not interested. If Drake called her, she would make sure she had that number, put it someplace safe. If she wrote it on her hand and she washed her hands, she would spend days trying to decipher the smudge number if it was Drake's number. You understand what I'm saying? But if you don't think of you as important as Drake, or as important as these people that we codify as celebrities are important, she's not going to think that either. Nobody knows you better than you know you. So how does she know? How does this woman know? How does she know who you are? You tell her. You tell her with everything that you are. I want to real quick read this, Ziggy, but you would be correct. As Ziggy was talking about, is he's not interested in women. You would be correct, because I started taking up tango dancing. I really like it, more for the dance than just the hookup. Yes, but that's the point. That's where you become attractive. When you start doing these things, when you're becoming the best version of yourself for you, you exude attraction, and women will start to come at you. That's what you want. Then when you talk to a woman, you're not. So if you're talking, Ziggy, if you're talking about not being thirsty, absolutely. I don't think you should ever be thirsty. If you're thirsty, then you're going to lose. You always going to lose. Cash App is up. Phone lines are open. Let me open the phone line. Let me put the phone on. Well, the phone's on the bottom, so if y'all really want to call, y'all could have did that. 929-269-4922. Call me, ask me a question. I don't care what it is. I'm here for it. We're gonna shut down in another 8 minutes. So if we don't get no calls in a minute, I'm gonna shut it down. Somebody said convincing your girl on a date, it sounds like a challenge. It depends. Depends on what the date is. You'd be surprised what people will do when they want to. The audio has a lot of static. Is it staticky now? Static on the line, the mic got static feedback. I don't know what happened. Let me see what I can do, if I can clean that up. Maybe turn it down a little bit. Maybe it's a little peeking out on me. How's that? Is that better, guys? Give me a thumbs up. Give me a thumbs up if it sounds clear. Adrian Mikowicz talking about tango and taking. Oh, that's dope. Yeah. Somebody took tango out of a thing that we knew. One of Adrian Mikowitz, who's a comic friend of mine who we did an interview, and he did tango. It's a dope thing to do. But I mean, you want to do these things that enhance you as a person. You know, you want to. It's clear like 5 minutes ago. Let me try again. Shit. Turn this down. How's that, guys? Is that better? Let me get a thumbs up. Let me get a thumbs up if it sounds clear. I think so. We got knocked offline on Instagram as well. So, how about now? Is it clear? No, it's not clear. All right. Well, we didn't get any calls. Sorry, guys. She's getting a little staticky. I think it's the connection I got right now. I'm not sure if I do go live tomorrow. If I do go live tomorrow, I'll go live early, maybe like 7:30 or so, and we'll put an hour in or something. If y'all want to check in on me, that'd be great. If not, man, I appreciate y'all, man. GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do this section? Oh, we got one call. All right, one call before we go. Let's do that. Let's see if we can get that. Okay. Let's see. Hello? No, we lost the call. Anyway, all right. I think we're gonna shut it down tonight, man. Thank y'all so much for listening. Please tell a friend. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Hit that bell so every time I go live, y'all get a heads up. Also, y'all know the consultations, one-on-one consultations live with me, one-on-one. We can go in depth, whatever you need to do. The Patreon, www.patreon. Hold on, we got one more call. Let me see if we can get this. We'll close this one out here. I don't know why it keeps going. Try one more. Are we in here? Maybe.
To send a voicemail, press 2.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, who am I speaking with?
Hi.
How you doing? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Seattle.
Seattle, what's going on? What's your name, bro?
Lazzy.
Lazzy, what's going on? How can I help you, bro?
Hi, so I just wanted to know, when you go on dates and stuff like that, you're always trying to get as much information as possible, like background,
Yeah.
Family stuff. Like, what's the underrated piece of information that you could get from women to determine certain qualities about themselves?
I think when you talk to somebody about so something that I think is important is to when you have these conversations, you have to ask leading questions. It's not necessarily information. There's no one piece of information, but you should ask open-ended questions so that you give them an opportunity to talk. I never met a woman who wants to be listened to doesn't talk. What I mean by that is, say she's a nurse, and she says, "Oh, I'm a nurse," and instead of saying, "Oh, that's great," how about asking them, what was the thing most that made you want to become a nurse, right? What are the things that most give you satisfaction for your job? She says, "Well, I just took it as a job. I didn't have a job." He said, "Well, what would you love to do? What is, if you had your opportunity to do anything, you could do anything you want. What is the thing you would want to do?" When people give you these answers, you can see how those answers would be perspective, give a clue to who they are as people. But you have to get people to talk. And then you can read, and it gives you an opportunity to read into what they're saying based on the fact of what their answers. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah, that makes sense. Like the answer would be indicative of certain
Exactly. It's an arbitrary question, but it's like sort of like Rorschach's ink blot, where the answer that they give it to you. You can find that even also what you'll find is, I have an interesting thing. Usually when I do consultations with guys, right, I can tell a lot about the guy even by the tone of his voice and the cadence of his voice. I'll give you a quick example. For instance, I had a guy call me up and he talked really fast, right? And he was just like, yeah, you know, and I was like, well, yeah, and I'm trying to understand him, but he's talking really fast, right? And he goes, and I go, wait, I don't understand what you're saying. And I'm asking him questions so that he can clarify because I'm trying to get a feel of who he is so that I can help him, right? And he goes, yeah, I know. People say I talk fast all the time, and I'm kind of loud. And I go, whoa, stop. I go, I don't know what else is wrong with you, but I know your voice is too loud. You talk too quickly, right? You, and it's almost, why do people talk quickly? Usually because they come from households. They come from households who just, who come from households where the parents don't want to listen to you, right? So because they don't want to listen to you, you say everything all at once as fast as you can say it so that you get it in before people shut you down. So that innately gives me an idea that this is a person who has low self-esteem. And the low self-esteem doesn't even have anything to do with women. It has to do with their basic fundamental upbringing and the fact that they didn't have parents who were patient and encouraging and so on and so forth. Does it make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. I have an example if you have the time. I don't know if you have time.
Sure. I mean, people are screaming about the audio is fucked up, but this is going to be the last call anyway, so go ahead. Hit me with it.
So, I think like last week I went up to this girl. I was at like a, kind of like a club kind of a thing. Went up to her, started shopping over there, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, she's like, side note, do you smoke? I'm like, no, I don't smoke. And then she's like, oh, is that like a red flag or something? Her even asking that question, is that indicative of her maybe like having, like being someone who thinks like cares about what other people think of her? Because I mean, I wouldn't, like someone asks me if I drink, I wouldn't clarify that that's like a red flag or anything.
I don't think you can. I don't think so. Usually there's one answer. Sometimes one answer will give you all the information that you need, right?
Yeah.
But what if you found out that she doesn't smoke? Right? What if you ask her, did you ask her, you said, no, I don't smoke, but do you smoke? Right? And,
like, she been smoke weed. She did. Like, she was insinuating, asking me basically if I wanted to smoke with her.
Okay, but did you ask why? I do smoke or I don't smoke, why? Did you ask her why? Huh?
No, I didn't.
Why not?
No, I didn't.
I mean, this is but this is what I'm saying. This is an opportunity for you to get all the intel that you need. Why would you take a question like that and not ask why and not elaborate it? You gotta understand something too. If you're really interested in somebody and you want to engage with them, you want to have sex with them, you got to talk to them. Like the talking is the prerequisite to that. You have to build a foundation where this is reasonable to talk about, you know? And if you're not asking these questions, I had a guy that I was counseling. The girl said, I don't talk on the phone. It terrifies me, right? And he was like, oh, okay. Like, how, in what lifetime do you go, a woman that you just met is telling you that talking on the phone terrifies you and you don't ask why? Terrified. I mean, it's such a strong statement to make to not ask somebody why. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, I do. That had happened to me one time as well. Not that I was scared. The girl was like, oh, I'm too tired to talk on the phone. And in my head, I was like, too tired to talk. Like, what is it? Like, my exhaustion.
Yeah, but here's what you have to understand. A woman is not going to respect you if she can set the tone of the relationship. I don't care who she is. I don't care whether she texts on the phone. If you're talking to her, you go, listen, I don't really have relationships with people and not talk on the phone. I'm a person that talks on the phone. I ultimately, I've said this. Ultimately, I eventually want to have sex with you. And if you can't talk to me on the phone, I'm surely not going to have sex with you. And even that flips the whole thing, the whole dichotomy upside down, because now we're in a situation where not only does is it me saying I'm not going to have sex with you, makes her go, what do you mean you're not going to have sex with me? I go, yeah, well, I have certain standards just like you do, and if you don't meet those standards, I'm out. It connects with her in a way that tells her, listen, I am, as well as any of this, understand something, that I also have standards, and if you don't meet my standards, then it's a no-go for me. Then it's not just her interviewing you, it's also you interviewing her, which it should be. Like, if you're dope, you get to choose too. And the fact that you would say that says in itself that you have the confidence to say to somebody, hey, you're not good enough, or let me see if you're good enough. Which most women are so insecure when you say that, they crumble under that pressure. They're like, what do you mean I'm not good enough? It becomes more about the challenge than it is about the point. Does that make sense?
Yeah, but is that I guess you kind of answered the question. It's kind of circular. Yeah, you can only stand on business if business is going well, though, right? So you have to practice ACE.
Oh yeah, right. You can't. I mean, if you're a fraud, you're gonna lie about it, and you're gonna get exposed.
Yeah.
You know, and some guys get exposed. Some guys become good liars, and they're able to lie for a period of time, and then when they're exposed, what happens? It all falls apart.
Yeah. What do you say? What doesn't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse.
Comes out in the rinse. I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you calling, bro.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for these shows. You're extremely helpful.
Man, I'm glad, man. Tell a friend, turn some people on me. That would be good.
I am. I'm telling them, but they're slacking. You guys don't want to.
Yeah, well, then when you be my example. You be my example. When you tearing it up in these streets, and they'll be like, well, how'd you? You like, man, I told y'all.
Man, it's cool.
Yeah, I feel you. Thanks a lot, bro. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.